Like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe, and also share with others so that we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We couldn't do this show without you, so I just wanted to say thank you. And if you want to help support us, go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
What it costs. I want to know what the truth is. And I hope that people, my son, anybody, if my name comes up, whether you like me, whether you agree with me or not, at least you could respect the fact that he's on a quest for truth. He's on a quest for truth.
Welcome to Skiba News Nation, bringing you unfiltered views, news, interviews, discussions, and more. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Skiba, award-winning musician and son of Rob Skiba.
Trump doesn't just live large, he lives really on top of the world. He is the American dream. We had to see it for ourselves, so we sent one of our producers to spend a whirlwind day in the life of Donald. There's a vibe, there's an indescribable it factor that, you know, I don't think you can teach. They don't teach it in the Wharton School of Business. It's not something you can even learn. There's just an it. Wouldn't you say, Donald?
That's true, folks. And I will tell you, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and I will say that I am sitting next to it. There is nobody ever that had it.
But if you did run for president, you believe you'd win?
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined, I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing, this country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been.
Do you have a vice presidential candidate in mind?
Well, I really haven't gotten quite there yet.
It's just
Oprah. I love Oprah. Oprah would always.
I thought he was a racist.
Oprah.
What?
Oprah, your competitor, right?
Oprah's competitor.
You know what?
No
I'll tell you, she's really a great woman, though. She is a terrific woman. She's somebody that's very special. I have not even thought about it. I guess we'll see.
Donald Trump has released a book where he's published letters that he's received over the years. One of your letters is front and center.
I heard about that.
Okay, back in 2000, you wrote him, "Too bad we're not running for office. What a team."
I think he'd written a book.
Like a Trump Oprah love story. What is this?
If he decided to.
Yeah, if he decided to run. And when I heard that this letter is now going to be a part of a book, I thought,
all she does now is bash him.
To write a note. That's what I thought. Because I'm always like, oh, I should write a note. The person did this, or I should write a note. So I'm really happy that I wrote a note.
It just shows you have good manners, but you're not thinking you and Donald Trump would be a team.
No.
You weren't thinking it.
I might have thought it back then,
Such
and
a
I might
liar.
have thought it 23 years ago. Yes.
Are you thinking that today?
No, I'm not thinking.
Okay.
You want to clear that up, right? Okay.
I feel that a lot of things are on the line, a lot of things are at stake. The freedoms that I have enjoyed, the successes that I have enjoyed, I feel that
Black
they're
privilege,
on the line and at
for
stake
sure.
in this moment. And I think there's the bottom line for me is that decency and respect are on the ballot. But we are beyond ridiculous tweets and lies and foolery. These are complicated times, people, and they require adult conversation. You know this is true, that decency and respect are on the ballot in 2024.
Just like we talked about last week, it's funny watching these liberals just completely change their tune when it's Trump running for office. But hey, Skiba News Nation family, before we talk about this clip, I was going to do the intro. So welcome to episode 97 of Skiba News Nation, your weekly source of the latest news, controversial topics, conspiracies, forgotten history, and so much more. I'm your host, Jeremiah Skiba, and today we're going to be talking about Telegram CEO arrested in France, app to be removed from the App Store, how to practice your lightsaber skills, Barataria Times National Festival, new videos prove Nancy Pelosi set up Jan 6, Subliminal Propaganda, Bear Independent thoughts on Zuckerberg, Kackala Harris, and Trump, Illuminati Playbook using the Simpsons, an all-new Oprah's Corner, and for History's Mysteries, we'll be talking about the Mothman, UFOs, and the weird things that are happening at O'Hare International Airport. memes, and much more, so subscribe and stay tuned. As always, I'd like to introduce my great and insightful co-host, and you're about to see us at Barataria Times National Festival 2024, Mr. Jake Grant. Welcome, Jake.
Hello, Jeremiah, and hello everyone watching. As you're watching this, we will be at Barataria Times National Festival. My band Simply Prodigal will be opening up the festival around 12 noon this Friday, so by the time this episode airs, we have already performed. But Jeremiah and I are going to have a tent set up there. We're going to be meeting people, hanging out, and having a great old time. So, yeah, man, look forward to that. And Jeremiah, hey, man, we got some great news this week. You ready?
I'm ready. Current news me up. I was going to say meme me up, but that's not right.
Hey, okay. Okay, we have a series of things that are very important to pay attention to. We're having a transgression of freedom of speech that's starting here in France, and it's having rippling effects in other areas. So here's a quote from Edward Snowden, we all know quite well. And it says, "I am surprised and deeply saddened that Macron has descended to the level of taking hostages as a means for gaining access to private communications. It lowers not only France, but the world." So what this has to do with, of course, is some interesting stuff that's going on politically there in France and in relation to the Telegram app, but is also affecting other alternative services. Check this one out. Breaking: Telegram announced that Apple will remove the Telegram app from their phones without their joint notice. And the Telegram app has announced that to prevent this, apply to mentioned settings. So if you go into your phone and change your content and privacy restrictions, and you go to your iTunes and App Store purchases, you can keep it from being able to delete apps. And so I wanted to show this to you guys. So if you wanted Apple from being able to delete your apps without asking you, you might want to go in there and change that setting. But what's interesting about this whole thing, what is going on, the Telegram messaging app CEO was arrested in France. And so this comes to the point where a Russian billionaire, founder and owner of the Telegram messaging app, was arrested at Le Bourget airport outside Paris shortly after landing on a private jet late on Saturday and placed in custody. The arrest of this 39-year-old tech billionaire was prompted on Sunday as a warning from Moscow to Paris that he should be accorded his Moscow warned Paris that he should be accorded his rights, and criticism from ex-owner Elon Musk, who said that free speech in Europe was under attack. And so this all has to do with Telegram abiding by EU laws, including the Digital Services Act. But things are changing, it seems like, because Durov has had a duel with French and United Arab Emirates citizenship and was arrested as part of a preliminary police investigation into allegedly allowing a wide range of crimes due to a lack of moderators on Telegram. So basically, they're just trying to shut down his platform for no other reason other than it's like an uncontrollable kind of communication tool that has been used for sometimes nefarious purposes of people joining his app. But this is alarming that they're focusing their activities on these alt platforms. But just to give us a little background on how that initial narrative that we're going to have to digest could have some light shed on it by this correlation with the founder and the World Economic Forum. So we have this drama going on with Telegram. Let's look into the guy who actually invented it. Now, here's a picture of Pavel Durov, and it's from the World Economic Forum page, and it's because he's a member they have his little profile here, and it says Pavel created 2 leading tech companies in 2006. He founded VKontakte, and the most popular social network in Russia. Hey, he launched Telegram, a messaging platform focused on privacy and security. 2 things governments don't want people to have, and if you're ever given a promise from a government agency that your communications have privacy and security, I would be very suspicious of that promise. So Telegram attracts over 100 million users globally, and now it's gone to the place where because of this flexing of European powers against the freedom of speech, we're having websites like Apple take down Telegram in response to this guy being charged with crimes. You know, so very interesting, something very important to pay attention to. On a lighter note, if you are in the mood to practice your lightsaber technique, I just had to show this video because we need to train the next generation of warriors, right? So check this out. If only I had figured out how to do this when I was a child, man, I would have spent hours just training against a lightsaber that was back and forth. Anyways, so that was the guy's process in training initially, and now he's facing multiple lightsabers with a drone flying around him. I don't know, Jeremiah, probably one of the coolest things ever. What did you think about that?
Well, have you seen the original Star Wars kid, the Star Wars guy? He's a big fat guy, and he was doing the thing with the sword, the lightsaber. I would love to see him do that.
Yeah, I remember.
On that course. That would be awesome.
He was one of the original viral YouTube videos, and it's so cool that you bring him
with the
up
Numa Numa guy.
Because it would be like, yeah, 20... Wait, are you telling me the Numa Numa guy is the same guy as the like guy who had the mop and was spinning it?
I don't think so, but that could be a conspiracy theory. Maybe he is.
Hey, maybe. Anyways, super cool. I figured, you know, if you're a Star Wars fan or you want to learn how to lightsaber battle or you just want some like martial arts weapons training and you don't have somebody to practice with, there you go. All right, so hey, since we're at Barataria, I wanted to share this tweet from Owen from last year, but I saw it in my computer files, and I think I shared it in a previous episode. But it's so true, and it has a lot to do with some of the videos we're going to cover this week. But his tweet said this: showing the horror of the conspiracy and you feeling you can do nothing about it is the revelation of method and key for mind control. You can do something about it, thrive, and know that the consequence is on them, not you. Trust me on this, be grateful and joyous, that's the revenge. And so I share this because we're at Barataria for one, but also because when we look at some of these predictive measures that are implemented in our media and things like that, it's exactly like he described. It's the revelation of method. It's the same concept as if you were to go to a market and go up to a booth that was a person selling like apothecary bottles or whatever, and you say, hey, excuse me, I need something like poisonous. And they say, oh, yes, here is poison, and if you take this, you're gonna die, but I'll sell it to you as long as you take it. And you go, oh, is that poison? And is that gonna make me like kill over? But also, is it going to make me, you know, extremely happy for 30 seconds before I die? And then, you know, that's the revelation of method, is if they tell you that they're selling poison that you kill yourself with, they're not guilty anymore for your contractual agreement to the system. Your conscious awareness and submission to the propaganda and the agendas that are rolled out on you. All right, so with that shared, check out this next
From the
video.
January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, showing then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi hours after rioters stormed the building. The footage was turned over to Congress by HBO and obtained by CBS. And her comments are featured in a documentary by her daughter, Alexandra Pelosi. In it, the then House Speaker can be heard lashing out at then President Donald Trump. Pelosi also criticized the decision not to have the National Guard on site that day.
How many times did the members ask, are we prepared? Are we prepared? We're not. Prepare for the worst. We're calling the National Guard now. We should have been here to start out.
Man, it must be stressful
CBS
to have a
News
job like that, where
Scott
you constantly have
McFarlane
people
is on
around you
Capitol
telling
Hill for us.
stuff
And
to
Scott,
worry
you've
about.
gone over this, so tell us what else Nancy Pelosi has to say and what you found most interesting in these tapes.
An awful lot of clips here. She's heard saying that Donald Trump is an enemy, a domestic enemy in the White House, and that he would have to pay a price somehow for the attack on the Capitol January 6th. She also talks about a prompt impeachment and potentially mobilizing the cabinet or urging the cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment and remove Trump from office. You hear all this as she responds to the real-time information she's getting about this riotous mob of Trump supporters breaching the Capitol and attacking police officers. She also is unequivocal in her condemnation of the security failures that day by the U.S. Capitol Police, by the Sergeant-at-Arms of the House, of the security officials who would leave their jobs just hours after the U.S. Capitol attack, after the disgraceful failures of security. All of this comes as Congress investigates the security failures and how they happened that day.
Okay, so what do we have there is an example of what happened January 6th, 2020, of individuals that pushed particular perspectives of an event that turned out to be propaganda. And this video leak and showing what Nancy Pelosi was doing and saying reveals some of the hypocrisy in some of the narratives that were pushed around that date and that event and against Donald Trump.
What are the odds of her and her daughter filming a documentary about the day that they're gonna call the next 9/11? Like, what are the odds of that? I mean, that just proves to me that she knew something was going on, and that's just my opinion, but I don't know if I'm allowed to have that opinion on YouTube, but makes you think.
Oh, yes, of course you're allowed to have that opinion. Okay, and not only is there propaganda politically being pushed on us all the time, trying to convince us you can do nothing, but instead, there's also subliminal messaging in the things that slip in between our videos. And here's an interesting one that has to do with our monetary spending ability. Check this video out.
Life is better with the credit gods on your side. Rewards once available to the few are now accessible to the many. Credit One Bank. Get cashback rewards and live large.
The credit gods.
Life is better with the credit gods on your side. Rewards
Big
once
Brother.
available to the few are now accessible to the many. Credit One Bank.
That random Greek god that they're using to represent their monetary system really reminds me of Mark of the Beastie type things. But you're right, he is a great Big Brother, like literally depicting Big Brother is there holding your hand.
Big Brother is a god.
Every purchase you make.
Big Brother is their god, you know?
I mean, it's the monitoring system and the control that it gives them that makes them all-seeing, all-knowing. And it's just interesting to watch how it's implemented. Here is a couple minutes we're going to watch of the Bear Independent breakdown before we wrap up our news segment today. And it's really interesting. He's tying in some of these concepts of Facebook censorship, Trump, and the UK. Check this out.
Talk about an admission by Mark Zuckerberg that the Biden-Harris administration, prior to the previous election, selection, whatever you want to call it, absolutely told them to censor election posts and specifically posts about Hunter Biden's made-up laptop. We all know.
Mark Zuckerberg confession.
Baby. Oh, repent and be baptized in the creamy peanut butter. Laptop. Anyway, it's real. And then we may touch on Kackala. So, with that in mind, on Monday, Russia launched one of its heaviest strikes ever against Ukraine. The attack consisted of a barrage of over 200 missiles and drones, which targeted both civilian and energy sites across the country, including the two most populated cities in the country, Kyiv and Odessa. Kyiv is not right on Russia's border, and so it's kind of in the center of the country. The country, again, there's a lot of potato-shaped countries there. So imagine you had a potato and it was in landscape mode, right, horizontal. And this potato was bisected down the middle, roughly, by the Dnipro River, okay? And Kyiv sits on the Dnipro River in essentially the center of the country. And so for Kyiv to come under Russian attack, and this is not the first time that this has happened, but for Kyiv to come under Russian attack is logistically more impressive than we've been in a trench for 3 weeks and we've gained another 50 feet of ground. One member of Ukraine's parliament said that 15 regions were hit. The drones used included about 100 Shahed drones supplied by Iran. But Russia accounts for approximately 1/7 of Iran's GDP. Russia and Iran are very tight, and what is happening in Ukraine is in large part, aside from the DNC money laundering and then the wars wanting to extrapolate the $13 trillion mineral wealth between the soil, underneath the soil, and the United States Department of Defense realizing that we've lost a lot of lessons learned in third-generation conventional warfare, and we appear threatened since 1945-ish. So we need to recapture those lessons, which is why there's special military advisors on the ground and have been in Ukraine since 2014. Aside from all of that, this is a proxy war between the United States and Russia. And Iran have been good buddies, overtly and covertly, for decades. Also, let's just go here, because we're here, very rarely discussed, but the Iranian component of the September 11, 2001 attacks that were perpetrated by ISIS and Al-Qaeda, right, and Osama bin Laden. Yet very few people talk about Iran. What about the 1983 barracks bombings and embassy bombings and all? Like, Iran is not a bunch of good dudes, and they are in large part funded and supplied by Russia. So it shouldn't be surprising when Russia is therefore using Shahed drones, which are large and loud and not very technologically advanced, but get the freaking job done, to attack Ukraine, because Ukraine is a proxy war in large part between the United States and Russia. Overall, 6 people were killed and 30 were injured. The Russian ministry said in a Telegram post on the day of the attack, quote, "All designated targets were hit. As a result, there were power outages and rail transportation of weapons and ammunition of the line of combat contact was disrupted." So again, as discussed on Monday, another example of Russia intentionally targeting dual use or civilian infrastructure in this war in Ukraine. And the reason I bring that up is from a preparedness standpoint, we all have to onboard the concept that the infrastructure as we understand it is a very juicy target. It will be targeted, and therefore it will go away. Whether that's on a tactical level or strategic level, whether that's local, regional, national, it will go away. And so therefore you need to be adequately prepared so that when it goes away, you don't go away with it. Russia's goal was to terrorize all of Ukraine. That's a quote. Quote, "terrorize all of Ukraine," end quote. And quote, "to deprive Ukrainians of electricity." And to deprive Ukrainians of electricity, quote, according to Ukraine's parliament. Now, clearly they're biased. National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby of the United States said to reporters, quote, "This is a classic play out of the playbook for Vladimir Putin to go after energy infrastructure, particularly as he knows the weather is about to turn, and people are going to need heat and power a lot more as things get colder in Ukraine. Long-range defensive strikes and quote, "It is crucial that our partners uphold the commitments we made together, in particular regarding air defense systems, missiles for them. We must finally unite in our efforts to shoot down Russian missiles and drones," end quote. Okay. He also said, quote, "Across Ukraine, we could do much more to protect the lives if the aviation of our European neighbors operated in concert with our F-16s and air defense systems. If such unity has proven effective in the Middle East, it must work in Europe too," end quote. It's interesting that Zelensky is calling Ukraine Europe, because they're not quite Europe, but they're not Europe. And so I don't know if any of y'all saw or heard the interview with Sean Ryan and former President Donald Trump. A well-done interview, and it's a huge win for Sean Ryan.
Future president too.
I'm very happy for him. That's amazing. One of the things that Trump talked about in that interview is that it's ridiculous that NATO thus far $250 billion in Ukraine, and Europe as a whole, which has an approximate GDP to the United States. All of Europe has an approximate GDP to the United States. All of Europe, which is interesting, because when you hear about this thing that happened in France or Germany or Poland or Italy or whatever, like, they're like states of the United States of America. Okay, they are countries in of themselves, but they are like states in the United States of America, just from a population density standpoint and from a GDP standpoint. And then, of course, you look at certain states like the state of Texas that accounts for, on average, 1/4 of the country's GDP. And I estimate that's going to grow since Texas opened its own stock exchange, and $1 trillion of value has fled from California, and $1 trillion of value has fled from New York since they opened it. But I digress. Trump's point was that with comparable GDPs between all of Europe and the United States of America, the U.S. has invested $250 billion, $250 billion, And for those that aren't good at big numbers, that's $250,000 million we have invested in Ukraine. Just some quick back of the napkin math, that's $100,000 for every citizen in the United States of America. It's $100,000 for every citizen. Notice I didn't say illegal alien. I'm not like California that's trying to approve a law right now that would give illegal aliens $150,000 for first-time home buyers, or Kamala Harris that wants to give illegal aliens $25,000 of your taxpayer dollars for first-time home buyers. But I digress again. Digressions upon my digressions. So Europe has only spent 50 to 75 billion, but the U.S. has spent 250 billion of our taxpayer dollars. Ukraine's not on our doorstep. It is on Europe's doorstep. And so Europe should be far more concerned than they are, because don't believe what people say, believe what people do. Europe should be far more concerned than they are about this whole thing in Ukraine. Shifting gears, this last weekend, Israel launched preemptive strikes on southern Lebanon in response to what it said were preparations of a large-scale attack from Hezbollah. Then came a barrage from Hezbollah, after which the group had announced that its retaliatory strike was over. Both groups seemed to announce success and wash their hands of it, so this may be the end of this particular bubble of tension. But that's Hezbollah. What about Iran? Also, Israel's Flotilla 13, again, good reporting on this from Brian Dean Wright at the Right Report. Israel's Flotilla 13, which is comparable, it's kind of their version of U.S. Navy SEALs, rescued a hostage that Hamas had taken. And they were in a tunnel about 25 meters, so about 80 feet underground. And they heard somebody speaking Hebrew. And they found this dude just by himself in the tunnel. And there he was. The debrief that guy is getting right now, holy crap. Yeah. He might be an Israeli citizen, but they're going to be hot washing that dude for weeks, if not months, to gather as much information from him as they can. And he's been down there a long time, and he was by himself. So is he a sympathizer? Has he turned? We're like, what's up? There's a lot of questions there. At least if I was Mossad, I would have a lot of questions.
All right, so very interesting. As always, I love sit-rep breakdowns from Bear Independent, and just giving us a little update on the Ukraine spending, the situation with Russia and their advancements in Ukraine, and of course some drama there with Israel finding a Hebrew-speaking man down in the tunnels just wandering around. Who is this guy? What does he know? But very interesting, and you see how the world stage kind of plays out in a multifaceted way, and everything seems to influence and affect each other, and decisions that are being made in countries to censor for one reason could have been motivated by a completely different reason. And so with that shared, check out this clip.
Take credit for anything.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
Simpsons predicted the future shot by shot because we're part of the Illuminati, which is true, we are.
The Simpsons have done it again. For years, people have been drawing similarities between gags in the episodes and things that actually end up happening in real life. One of the biggest happened to be when they predicted Donald Trump would become president. Well, now fans are drawing similarities from last week's inauguration. Look at this.
Inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
The country is broke? How can that be?
Well, remember when the last administration decided to invest in our nation's children? Big mistake.
Okay, so in this episode, Bart gets a glimpse into the future. This is not a recent episode. Lisa has become the first female president. She takes over coincidentally after Donald Trump leaves office. Aside from that fact alone, look at this picture. Lisa is also seen wearing a purple suit and pearl necklace, which is seemingly
Kamala
identical
wants to be
what
Lisa.
Vice President Kamala Harris wore on Inauguration Day. This episode of The Simpsons originally aired in March 2000.
How strange is this?
She's a little too yellow, I would say.
Legendary golfer
Just
Arnold
kidding.
Palmer died in 2016. He was coincidentally mentioned 4 times on the season premiere of The Simpsons.
Gonna fill a super soaker full of lemonade. Carl's gonna fill one with iced tea, and we're gonna Arnold Palmer Lenny when he walks in.
The show mentioned the beverage named after Palmer, a mix of iced tea and lemonade. The show aired just hours after he died. Social media was amazed by the coincidence. So weird, one tweet said. The Simpsons know all, said another. Then there's this episode of The Simpsons from 1998. It shows the entrance to 20th Century Fox Movie Studios. Now check out the fine print. A division of Walt Disney Company. Years later in 2017, as Simpsons predicted, Disney announced they were buying 20th Century Fox.
But there's one cartoon show that feels otherwise. Back in 1999, The Simpsons aired an episode called Sunday Cruddy Sunday. The episode shows a team that resembles the 49ers winning the Super Bowl, and you guessed it, Miami.
The Simpsons, they've had a lot of episodes where they have predicted a lot of stuff.
And wildly enough, he's right. The Simpsons had an episode in 1993 predicting the Dallas Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, which they did in 93. Back in 1992, the Lisa the Greek episode predicted the Redskins would win the Super Bowl.
The Washington Redskins win Super Bowl 26.
3 days later, they won. But it's not only sports that the show has a strong track record in. In 2000, the episode Bart to the Future predicts Donald Trump will be president.
You know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
This has got a lot of attention on social media. Some posting Simpsons predicted 49ers winning the Super Bowl in Miami. And everybody knows the Simpsons don't lie.
You have a great knack for predicting the future on that show.
We really have. I like to joke that they have a crystal ball in the middle of the writer's table.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so great, and it is uncanny.
And it seems the Simpsons just can't wait for next season to deal with Donald Trump. The Simpsons released this video online tonight.
But this was perhaps Donald Trump's most celebrated arrival, when he escalated himself into the presidential race.
It's the most momentous announcement you can make in your entire career. You're like, I want to come in on an escalator.
Yeah. Hey, only losers walk. Presidents take Stair Force One.
The escalator's own parody Twitter account tweeted, "The ego has landed," using an escalator. Someone added elevator music to the escalator video and made a 10-minute loop.
Still
Even
awesome.
Homer Simpson rode the escalator behind Trump, whose hair sucked Homer into his scalp.
That's funny. He does have beautiful hair.
I'm right behind him. Not supposed to stare at it directly, but I can't help it.
I am officially running.
No! No! Don't take me out of the ginger forest! No!
There's more. In one episode, tiger trainers.
Oh, that was Siegfried and Roy.
So part of it is, oh yeah, it's a revelation of method concept, and that's why I started off with that tweet from Owen, and you know, as we see different elements roll out on the world stage, we have to keep in mind that their whole attempt is to keep us immobile, and so that's what we're not going to be. All right, so that's all the news for this week, Jeremiah.
All right, before we go to the next thing, I wanted to tell you something else that predicted the future. Back to the Future, which is a future movie, in 2015, which was the future. So in part 2, they went to the future. And they said that the Cubs would win or go to the World Series and win the World Series, but they had never gone before. I don't know when the last time they went, but they did go in 2015. And they also said that there would be a team from Miami. And back in the 80s and 90s, not until the 2000s did they have a team in Miami, and now they do, the Miami Marlins. So did they predict it? Who knows?
Wow.
But yeah,
I think the reason they do that is they show you that they can predict things that they can control, so that other elements that they slip into their narrative, they get you to automatically assume is prophetic and will happen, such as, you know, doom and gloom, World War III, you know, follow this mandate, obey this agency, whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, it's kind of like in layers.
Thank you for another great current news as always. But we'd like to hear from you guys at home, so check out this clip where you can be a part of the show. Don't forget about our Skiba News Nation hotline, where you can leave us a voicemail telling us what topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or ask us a question. Can we just do that again? Answer it on the show. We can't wait to hear your voicemail. Our number is 214. Here, I'm just going to do that again. Thank you, Jake, for another great current news as always, and we'd like to hear from you guys, so check out this clip. Don't forget about our Skiba News Nation hotline, where you can leave us a voicemail telling us what topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or ask us a question and we'll answer it on the show. We can't wait to hear your voicemail. Our number is 214-617-3330. You can also write us a letter to Jeremiah Skiba, P.O. Box 560271, The Colony, Texas 75056. I will definitely write you back. And make sure that you check out JJ's CBD rub on jjcbdrub.com. It's about that time for an all-new Opa's Corner. Take it away, Opa.
Meow. Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
The strange, the bizarre, the unexpected. These are the kinds of subjects a man named Robert L. Ripley challenged us to
Believe it or not.
believe it or not.
Believe it or not, you.
Wally, believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Believe it!
You're a loony.
Jack Black's parents are rocket scientists. Jack Black has made a name for himself in Hollywood by playing goofy characters such as the slacker-turned-fake substitute teacher Dewey Finn in 2003's School of Rock, and a monastery cook-turned-Mexican wrestler in 2006's Nacho Libre. But in real life, he's the son of rocket scientists. The actor was born on April 7, 1969, in Santa Monica, California, to Tom and Judy Black, who were both satellite engineers. His late mother worked on missions and projects such as the Minuteman missile, the Hubble Space Telescope, the Tracking and Data Relay Satellite, and the Apollo Space Program.
So she lied.
Believe it or not. Benjamin Franklin wrote an essay called Fart Proudly.
Yes.
Benjamin Franklin was responsible for many impressive accomplishments as an inventor and politician. But he was also a writer who penned essays such as 1781's Fart Proudly.
Oh, wow.
Seriously. In it, he wrote, "It is universally well known that in digesting our common food, there is created or produced in the bowels of human creatures a great quantity of wind, that the permitting this air to escape and mix with the atmosphere is usually offensive to the company from the smell that accompanies it." His essay urged the Royal Academy of Brussels to try to discover some dug, wholesome, and not disagreeable to be mixed with our common food, or sauces that shall render the natural discharges of wind from our bodies not only inoffensive, but agreeable as perfumes. Believe it or not.
I want that quote on my tombstone.
Three Musketeers candy bars used to contain 3 bars. The original 1932 version of the Three Musketeers bars contained 3 separate candy bars in one wrapper. One was full of chocolate nougat, like the bar today, while the other 2 contained vanilla and strawberry nougat. However, during World War II, American candy makers had to work around sugar rations, and the Mars Corporation decided to focus on their most popular flavor, chocolate. No surprise there. In recent years, however, they've released limited edition flavors from time to time. Believe it or not. You're more likely to win an Olympic gold medal than the lottery. The odds of picking the correct numbers in the Mega Millions are 1 in 302.6 million. For comparison, your odds of winning an Olympic gold medal are just 1 in 662,000, according to Forbes. Believe it or not. The current American flag design earned a bad grade. For anyone under 60, the American flag has always had the same iconic design, 50 stars and 13 stripes. However, the United States didn't include 50 states until Hawaii joined in 1959, necessitating a new flag design. High schooler Robert G. Heft submitted such a design as part of a class assignment, and although he wasn't the only one to suggest alternating rows of 5 and 6 stars, he was the only one who actually sent in a prototype. President Dwight D. Eisenhower chose Heft's flag to become the official national symbol. But his teacher only gave it a B-. Believe it or not.
That ain't right.
If the USA is so great, then why did somebody make a USB? Whenever I find the key to success, someone changes the lock. Scientists say the universe is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. They forgot to mention morons. My resolution was to read more, so I put subtitles on my television. Maybe if we tell people that the brain is an app, then they'll all start using it. Intelligence is like an underwear. It's important that you have it, but not necessary that you show it off. You have two parts of the brain, the right and the left. In the left side, there is nothing right. And in the right side, there's nothing left. My wife has to be the worst cook. In my house, we pray after we eat. Better to keep quiet and let people think that you're an idiot than to speak up and confirm it. I come from a stupid family. During the Civil War, my great-uncle fought for the West. The shape I'm in, I could donate my body to science fiction. My golf game is getting really good. Last week I got through the windmill. Last year my birthday cake looked like a prairie fire. I've never been lucky. The day my ship came in, I was at the airport. That's why they call it the American dream. Because you have to be asleep to believe it.
That's George Carlin.
Meow means woof in cat.
Damn right.
Everyone smiles in the same language. Some people have no idea what they're doing. And a lot of them are really good at it. In America, anyone can become president. That's the problem. Atheism is a non-profit organization.
That looks like Space Force, doesn't it?
Thanks for calling, Ma. Yes, we're fine. The only earthquake damage was to that lovely lamp you gave us last Christmas. USMC drill instructor. Move it, you sorry sack of cheap wool. My grandmother could jump higher. I can top all of you. I once screamed continuously the entire flight from New York to London. Okay, you win.
Man, that'd be terrible.
UFO stop.
Yeah.
Product testing. Okay, so technically your design is more efficient.
Sometimes I let roll the cats.
Amazing cat accomplishments. This is the last spot left in the house that I haven't slept in. When I'm finished here, I'll start all over again.
They do that.
What a lovely home, Edda. And look at the fresh newspaper, Stanley. No, I don't hate giraffes. I'm just saying it might make sense to pull me out first. Well, I like you all right, but they can't stand you, so forget it. I'm sorry, sir, but the reservation book simply says Jason. There's nothing here about Jason and the Argonauts. Wait! You haven't put up the piñata yet?
That's funny.
I'm starting to think the water might be too fluorinated. Okay. We'll travel back to dinner time one more time, but then it's my turn to choose. Great. How did I end up in a class full of smartphones? Why dogs stick their heads out of car windows? Man, these people stink.
Yeah, probably.
Texas? No, it's one floor down. We're not going back. Nice try, but you're both going to the vet today. Looks like you're in a pickle, mister. A real dilemma. Well, I certainly don't relish the... Oh, crap. Now you got me doing it. Bank drive-through. This is a stick-up. Don't try anything dumb. I've got a gun. Emergency. She's the third person we brought in this week with multiple lacerations from trying to get a cat to swallow a pill.
Yeah.
See? I told you they wouldn't notice us.
That's true.
Carpools only. Well, I'll be darned. You got me on a technicality. I know you were first to market, but face it, Fire 2.0 just has better features. I think we should check the temperature of the dip. K1. Class, today I will be introducing you to the alphabet. Sup. No fear. It took a while, but I finally got them to stop bringing me those stupid apples. Can't hit the broadside of a barn today. Have you tried rebooting? Quitting time at the Murphy Bed Company. Hello, Moon. Hello, Moon. Hello, Spoon. It's fun to run around the room. Hello, half-full water cup. Hello, human who says, shut up. Al's Plumbing. That drain again? It's a tow truck. And that concludes another OPA'S Corner.
Mein Hut, der hat 3 Ecken. 3 Ecken hat mein Hut. Und hat nicht 3 Ecken, dann ist es nicht mein Hut.
OPA'S Corner is now available on my own YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe.
Those cat ones make me laugh way too hard, but thank you, Opa, for another great OPA'S Corner. Now check out our brand new Babylon Rising bookstores. Check this out.
Check out our new and improved BabylonRisingBooks.com, where you can get Rob Skiba's books, bundles, DVDs, DVD-ROMs, videos, and so much more. You can even get Sheila and Jeremiah's books, so check it out now.
It's time for all new History's Mysteries. So today for History's Mysteries, we're going to be talking about Mothman, UFOs, and the O'Hare International Airport. And they all go together, you'll see. So let's first start with Mothman, and there's some sightings that I had never heard of, and they were all across this flat plane we call Earth, all of them. And they've been happening for years. So let's check out this first clip so we're all on the same page.
In 1975, in Binghamton, New York, a group of children reported seeing a large creature they described as a man with bat wings and glowing red eyes. 3 years later, a group of miners in Freiburg, Germany came face to face with a creature with glowing red eyes. At first they thought it was a man in a trench coat, but then it unfurled large black wings. The men stared in stunned silence until the creature let out a blood-curdling screech that sent the miners running. About an hour later, the men felt the earth shake. Then a plume of dust shot from the mine as it collapsed. If the men had gone to their stations as usual, most of them would have been killed. Throughout 1985, Workers at the nuclear power plant in Chernobyl claimed to see a huge black bird-like creature flying around the plant. It had the body of a man and red eyes. They called it the Blackbird of Chernobyl. People in the area started receiving strange phone calls with nothing on the line but static. There was a Mothman seen and photographed near the Twin Towers in 2001 before the 9/11 attack. In August 2007, after a month of Mothman sightings, the I-35 bridge collapsed during rush hour. A large red-eyed creature terrorized the people of La Junta, Mexico in 2009. Shortly after, there was a swine flu outbreak. In 2011, people started seeing a giant flying humanoid creature all over the Chicago area. Like, all over. Since 2011, there have been hundreds of Mothman sightings around the airport, including photos and some crazy video.
That's real video that somebody shot. That's crazy, right?
Whatever it is, the way it's flying, it's big. Skeptics say that's a bird, but it doesn't look like a bird to me.
It looks way too big to be a bird. I mean, Opa, have you ever heard of any of these sightings, and do you think that that was a bird?
Nope, never heard or seen these videos. I don't know. It could be a really big bird, but it kind of flies weird.
Yeah. What about you, Jake?
Yeah, no, it's very interesting. Some of this is new to me.
Yeah, and we weren't able to talk about Mothman last week, and we talked about it during the live stream, but do you want to tell everybody that may not watch the live, that may not have seen the live stream, what your thoughts about the Mothman were?
So, Mothman, I'm convinced, is pretty much the Bigfoot of alien sightings, right? And several years ago, I interviewed with David Carrico, who kind of broke down and associated Mothman with MK Ultra groups, and there's something about seeing this individual and being a targeted or kind of a mind-controlled individual. But yeah, I mean, I love that you covered it. I think it's a really interesting thing. And man, wouldn't it be crazy to see like a 7-foot-tall being with moth wings? You know, could it be a fallen angel? Could it be just a programming kind of loop of these targeted MK Ultra individuals? I don't know, but it's definitely an interesting topic.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to be talking about the most credible eyewitness stories. So I'm going to get y'all's feedback after this. So watch this clip.
I had just left work at the USPS sorting facility at O'Hare International Airport. I was walking out to my car when I saw something standing at the far end of the parking lot where I usually park. At first, I thought it was a very tall person with a long coat. As I got closer to my car, I unlocked my car, which caused my headlights to come on. My headlights hit the person standing about 20 to 25 feet from my car, causing it to turn and look right at me. I saw that this was not some person, but some red-eyed being, and what appeared to be a coat were actually wings, which it spread out as it turned to look at me. This thing then started making some kind of chirping sound, almost a half chirp and half click, like someone was clicking their tongue, but much faster. It then made some type of screeching sound and took off running toward me. It got to within 10 feet of me and took off into the air and flew above me. I got home and told my husband, who also works at the same facility, and he was the one who told me about the sightings of this thing. I was scared shitless and hope I never see this thing again.
My name is, and I'm a security guard at O'Hare. I'm reluctantly writing to you to report something that I saw a week ago. On the night of Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019, I was heading toward one of the airport cargo hubs. I was approaching the creek headed toward Montrose Avenue when I saw this large person standing down in the creek bed. I stopped, thinking it was maybe a trucker who decided to wander down there to relieve himself. I put on my lights and stopped my vehicle and was preparing to get out when this man turned toward me and I saw two very bright red eyes. This thing appeared to be looking straight at me, and then it turned away and walked away. As it did, it unfurled a set of wings. It took off into the air and was gone into the darkness. I was left there wondering what in the hell had just happened and what I had just seen. I'm gonna be blunt here. I don't believe in hobgoblins and little green men, and I'm sure that there must be a rational explanation for this. I have worked too hard to get where I am, and to have all that trash by saying that I saw a red-eyed flying man. Yet that is what I saw. I'm torn between reporting this and keeping my mouth shut to protect my retirement. If I do report this, I want everything to be done to protect my identity. My name is Bruce, and I'm a pilot for, and I've been with since 2008. The incident I'm about to tell you happened on Thursday, August 8th, 2019 at O'Hare International Airport at approximately 1800. I'd flown into O'Hare the previous day and had stayed at a hotel for the night. I was due to fly out at 2000 to the UK. I was taking the airport shuttle toward the terminal. As I looked out the window, I saw a large human with enormous wings and glowing red eyes perched upon a rail and looking straight at me. I was startled and, I'll admit it, very frightened. It did not move or attempt to hide itself as we approached, knowing that it could be clearly seen. It just stayed put and watched as we passed. When we passed, I attempted to look back and see if it was still perched there. I saw nothing and can only assume that it must have flown off when we passed.
I've worked at O'Hare for the last 7 years as a member of the air traffic control team. I was working the late evening at TRACON and had just walked away for one of our mandatory breaks. I was walking toward one of the terminal buildings when I noticed some movement out of the corner of my eye. I turned in the direction of the movement and noticed a large black shape coming to a rest on the ground near a light pole. This thing was at least 6 to 7 feet tall and jet black, and it looked like a very big bat, but was also very human-like in appearance. It sported a large set of black wings that also looked like the wings of a bat. They were open to their full length and must have been at least 12 feet. It kept its head down, looking at the ground, until an approaching vehicle startled it. That is where I saw that its head was short and squat, but had a pair of piercing red eyes. It looked in the direction of the approaching vehicle and then began to flap its wings and took to the air. It disappeared above the building in the span of 1 to 2 seconds and was gone out of sight. I personally know of 3 other controllers who have had sightings of this thing, and just as many pilots who have either reported sightings in and around the airport.
So most of these sightings as of late have been at Chicago, and more specifically at O'Hare International Airport. I mean, to me, these eyewitnesses are very credible because they're pilots, they're ground control, and so many other airport officials, and they have more to lose than they have to gain. I mean, that's just the truth. And, you know, they could lose their jobs. Like, that's very serious for, you know, like an airplane or a pilot or anybody that works at the airport. They don't want to sound crazy. I mean, Jake, what are your thoughts about these eyewitness accounts? I mean, like, what do they have to gain if it isn't legit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the question. I mean, the biblical principle, right, is that let every matter be established by 2 or more witnesses. And so the concept that these people are, you know, experiencing this and reporting it, I will say the recordings that we listen to definitely sound like they are...
It's a recreation.
Like either AI... Yeah, recreation.
But those
exactly.
were the real words that were...
You know, I don't know... Yeah, it would be really interesting to talk to somebody who's actually experienced it and just to see what their narrative is, because it is such an interesting, you know, thing, but, you know, who's making up a story just to get famous and who's actually experiencing it, those are 2 different things.
Yeah, and all of their names are redacted because they don't want to be, you know, known for that, you know, because I mean, just like the pilots that say that the Earth is flat, they don't want video of it out there because then they could lose their jobs. But Opa, I know that you traveled to O'Hare International Airport several times. Did you ever get any weird vibes? Because the rest of this History's Mysteries is about O'Hare Airport.
Nope. I've been in and out of O'Hare in the late 60s, 70s, 80s, and maybe early 90s.
Well,
and I never saw anything, and I never even knew that, you know, something like that existed.
Well, there's more. What if I told you that O'Hare International Airport, or the O'Hare, I don't really know how to say it, but what if I told you some other strange phenomena is going on there, like UFOs, and I do have a real recording of FAA reporting on the UFOs. So check this out and let me know what you think.
Hey Dave, it's Tzit from United Tower. Hey, did you see a flying disc out by C-17?
Oh, don't even start, Sue. You're seeing flying discs.
Well, look at the pilot and the ramp guys are telling us the C-17, they saw some flying disc above, and we can't see
Come
above us.
on, Sue.
You didn't see it, right?
Hey, you guys been celebrating the holidays already on there or what? You having a Christmas party today? I have not seen anything, Sue. And if I did, I wouldn't admit to it. No, I have not seen any flying disc at Gate C-17. Unless you got a new aircraft you're bringing out today that we don't know about. No, I have not seen anything, Sue.
We have obtained the real audio of a government agency receiving reports of a UFO hovering over one of America's busiest airports. Here's the story. On November 7th, 2006, at Chicago O'Hare International Airport, multiple witnesses, including airline pilots, supervisors, and mechanics, claimed to have seen a UFO hovering over United Airlines Gate C-17. It was described as a disc, or in more common terms, a flying saucer. News of the incident quickly spread.
There's a story you may have already heard about. United Airlines employees who swear it was something otherworldly in the skies above Chicago's O'Hare Airport on November 7th.
Several airport workers, some of whom have talked to the Chicago Tribune, who say they saw a saucer-shaped UFO.
They saw one, a UFO. They say it hovered over a terminal without lights before shooting straight up right through the clouds last fall.
You might think that only 5 years after 9/11, reports of a flying object trespassing over highly restricted and highly sensitive airspace would be met with an overwhelming response by the government, but you'd be wrong. At the time, both United Airlines and the Federal Aviation Administration told the press they didn't feel it necessary to investigate the incident at all. It wasn't until journalists and independent investigators started filing Freedom of Information Act requests that they finally admitted they had looked into the O'Hare UFO incident, but had determined that it could have been simply a weather phenomenon, a trick of light reflecting off the clouds. One group that filed Freedom of Information Act requests was the National Aviation Reporting Center on Anomalous Phenomenon, or NARCAP. Official FAA Freedom of Information Act logs show that NARCAP had requested FAA radio communications from Chicago O'Hare during the alleged UFO sighting. This audio was indeed released, and within a very detailed 152-page report, NARCAP printed a transcript of this audio. However, beyond the transcript, not many people have heard the actual audio. After an extensive search, we have obtained the audio of radio communications between United Airlines and the FAA at Chicago O'Hare International Airport on the afternoon of November 7th, 2006.
No, I have not seen anything, so if I do, I don't know what I'll do. If I see, I guess I'll back it up with you, but no, I'll keep an eye out.
All right, bye.
All right, then. I got a car, Dwight.
Dwight?
Yes.
What happened to Dave? Did he have to take a break because I called him?
No.
This is Sue from United.
Yes?
Dude, there was a disc out there flying around.
There was a what?
A disc.
A disc? Can you hang on 1 second?
Sure, Dwight.
Okay, I'm sorry. What can I do for you now?
All right. I told Dave there was a disc flying outside above Charlie 17, and he thought it was pretty much high. But I'm not high, and I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
Someone actually has a picture of it, so if you guys see it out there.
A disc? Like a frisbee?
Like a UFO type thing.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
They have a picture of it. Like,
how high above Charlie 17?
Well, it was above our tower. So, if you happen to see him,
You know what? I'll keep a peeled eye for that.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Tower Kid, this is Dave. Yeah, Roger.
I got an interesting one for you, Dave. Some of our employees, I don't know if you heard anything about this, some of our pilots on the ground were reporting a UFO sighting at 1,000 feet from the seaside of the airport. Did you guys hear anything about that?
You know what? The ramp tower called me, I want to say about 10, 15 minutes ago. We have not seen anything up there.
Okay.
Because she said it was right around gate C-17.
Okay.
But, I mean, and since she called, I've been looking, but we have not seen anything.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if we do, oh well, I guess, you know.
Well, no, I was just wondering, maybe we'll have to give him C-7 right.
Yeah, I know. Either that or you guys unveiled a brand new aircraft that I didn't tell anybody about. But, no, we have not seen anything, but we will surely keep an eye out, that's for sure.
Thank you very much.
No problems.
Ground Gateway 5668, send the penalty box ready to go to the Northport.
Gateway 5668, you can use Alpha to Northport and use caution for the UFO.
Alpha to Northport, we'll take a look. United Maintenance 44.
Okay, it's 44. Thank you. All right. 44 is going around to Northport. Excellent. You got Eagle and SkyWest over here coming around this way. He's turning in no factor. You really got no other gate holds. All right. Somebody reported a UFO or a flying disc above Charlie Concourse. Seriously.
Excellent.
Yeah. So nobody can see it, but use caution.
All right.
And that's pretty much it. Gateway 5668.
5668, go ahead.
Yeah, look out your window. Do you see anything above United Concourse? They actually, believe it or not, they called us and said somebody observed a flying disc about 1,000 feet above the gate Charlie 17. You see anything over there?
Not that I can tell.
Okay. Yeah, I thought my job was stressful.
We saw it a half hour ago.
Who saw it?
A whole bunch of us over at the Charlie Concourse.
Really? You guys did? Who's this?
The United Taxi Mechanics. Thought it was a balloon, but we're not sure.
United Airlines states, "We don't have anything to share on this one," and referred us to the FAA. We reached out to the FAA with a list of questions. They responded with this one statement. As for the reports on that day, the controllers in the tower at O'Hare reported no unknown aircraft, and nothing unusual was detected on radar. No further investigation was conducted. When we pointed out that both FAA logs and radio communications did in fact document reports of an unknown disc in the sky, and asked whether the FAA still stands by their statement that the UFO could have simply been a weather phenomenon, the FAA responded, "We won't be going beyond the statement you received."
The FAA recording just showed that, I mean, there was a UFO seen at the airport. And if I'm remembering right, they had to ground every airplane at one of the busiest airports on this earth, which is O'Hare International Airport. What are your thoughts about it, Opa?
Well, all those people are reporting something, and you know, it's kind of strange that these people are all in different places around O'Hare Airport, and they all saw something around the same location. So it's something they really should have investigated.
Yeah. Jake, those weren't recreations. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think there's always strange things around airports, like we mentioned in our last little discussion. There's something about places where many people come and travel that just seems to attract the strangest situations.
Right. That's kind of what me and Opa discussed last week. But now for our final clip on the O'Hare International Airport. This is the most crazy and most disturbing thing I've ever heard about any airport. So I just want to make a brief disclaimer. Viewer discretion is advised. So let's play this clip.
More than a dozen human heads discovered at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. This one left us saying, what the? CBS Chicago tweets a total of 18 human heads found at O'Hare. They are being examined by authorities. The grisly discovery was made late on the evening of January 14th. The Chicago Sun-Times quotes officials as saying, at first glance, the heads appear to be part of a medical shipment. Turns out it's not illegal to send body parts. A spokesman for the Department of Homeland Security told the Sun-Times there is no issue with the transportation of body parts for medical purposes. Those heads were reportedly sent from outside the U.S., and Fox 4 in Kansas City reports they were still covered in skin. No foul play is suspected.
So either O'Hare has the worst luck possible when it comes to getting reported, like having reporters report on things, you know, that are very disturbing, or like, it's just, why would you have a bunch of human heads? I don't understand. I mean, what are your thoughts, Opa? Why would they have human heads?
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to make a Frankenstein.
Or maybe they're feeding the Mothman. No.
Yeah, or they're.
Well, I'll tell you why.
What's that?
I mean, it is basically Frankenstein. They're trying to use all these body parts for the medical industry that's completely corrupt, by the way, and it has to do a lot with organ donor things and other areas that we probably can't talk about without risk of, you know, going the way of the Clinton phone list, right? But
well, that's all I got for the Mothman UFOs O'Hare International Airport, but I know last week all of you guys said that you liked the comedian that I played, so I put a little better compilation, some of my other favorite Mitch Hedberg jokes together just for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed this.
Like him.
Yeah, this my friend said to me. He said, I think the weather's trippy. I said, no, man, it's not the weather that's trippy. Perhaps it's the way that we perceive it that is indeed trippy. Then I thought, man, I should have just said, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes people give me gift certificates, man. I think a gift certificate is a bad gift. What's a gift certificate? You take money that was good everywhere. You took a little long on that clap now. I had some extra lines there, but I can't do them.
Yeah, I got to write these jokes, so I sit at the hotel at night, I think of something that's funny, then I go get a pen and I write it down. Or, if the pen's too far away, I have to convince myself that what I thought of ain't funny. You know what, man? I'm sick of following my dreams. I'm just going to ask where they're going and hook up with them later. Yeah, I saw this commercial on TV. It said, you can water your hard-to-reach plants with this product. Now, who would make their plants hard to reach? That seems so very mean. I know you need water, but I'm going to make you hard to reach. I will throw water at you. Hopefully, they'll invent a product before you shrivel and die. I read that last year MTV's Real World got 40,000 applications. That's amazing, man. Such an even number. You'd think it would be 40,008, maybe. I wanted to buy a candle holder, but the store didn't have one. So I got a cake. You know, when it comes to racism, people say, I don't care if they're black, white, purple, or green. Oh, hold on now. Purple or green, you gotta draw the line somewhere. To hell with purple people. Unless they're suffocating. Then help them. I saw this lady on TV, she was born without arms. She was born with her hands attached to her shoulders, and that was sad. But then they said, Lola does not know the meaning of the word can't. And that to me was actually kind of worse in a way. You know, not only does she not have arms, but she doesn't understand simple contractions. I like Kit Kats unless I'm with 4 or more people.
I think Pringles' initial intention was to make tennis balls. But on the day that the rubber was supposed to show up, a big truckload of potatoes arrived. And Pringles is a laid-back company. They said, cut them up.
I rent a lot of cars, you know, because I go on the road. I rent cars. And when I drive a rental car, I don't know what's going on with it, right? So a lot of times I drive like for 10 miles with the emergency brake on. That doesn't say a lot for me, but it really doesn't say a lot for the emergency brake. It's really not an emergency brake, it's an emergency make the car smell funny lever. Hey, if you can't sleep, count sheep. Don't count endangered animals, you will run out. You know when a company wants to use letters in their phone number to be catchy, but oftentimes you use too many letters? Give us a call down here at 1-800, I really enjoy carpeting. Too many letters, man. Do I have to dial them all? Hello, hold on, I'm only on enjoy. How did you know I was calling? You're good, I can see why they hired you.
I think a lot of people associate long hair with drug use, you know? I wish long hair was associated with something other than drug use. Like an extreme longing for cake. Strangers would look at me and say under their breath, that guy eats cake. He is on butt cake. Mother saying to the daughters, don't bring the cake eater over here anymore. He smelled like flour. Did you see how excited he got when he found out your birthday was fast approaching?
You know that, Petra's Farm Bread, that stuff is fancy, man. It's wrapped twice. You open it, and it still ain't open. That's why I don't buy it. I don't need another step between me and toast. I don't have a girlfriend. I just know a girl who would get really mad if she heard me say that. I would imagine if you could understand Morse code, a tap dancer would drive you crazy. Say, shut up, I don't understand. Share the we too, I don't get it.
Oh my gosh, Mitch Hedberg was one of the best comedians who ever lived, and I wish he was still around because I bet you he'd have some really great material now. But yeah guys, that's all I got for History's Mysteries, and I hope you guys enjoyed. You got some memes for me, Jake?
Yeah, I got a couple.
Alright, meme me up. Meme me up.
When this is more of a compliment than a criticism. My pronouns are wife and sandwich maker. You know, for all you ladies out there.
That's funny.
Speaking of Kamala Harris, we're entering into communism.
Yep.
So this is what we see out in California. It's rows of tents.
I know, it's
all the way down the boulevard. Well, that's what certain ideologies get you when you implement them in your politics and your legal system.
Yep.
Here's another good one. Jesus told the story of the prodigal son to make this point. It doesn't matter what you've done. God just wants you to come home. And so, what does the word teshuva means? It means to just turn around and go back to Papa, right? Here's a one that I thought applied to my life in a funny way. Me showing God my memes and explaining how I was trying to save humanity. That one was supposed to be a joke. Hey, but no doubt, if we're given an account for every idle word or deed, it makes sense. But some people don't realize what they're influencing the world with is actually not all that it seems. Here's a picture of online wellness influencers and their actual lives.
Yeah.
I mean, when somebody's livelihood's tethered to their outward persona, you're always going to get this. And it's just, unfortunately, the way people tend to operate when we present our best foot forward in Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media marketing we're trying to do. I hope you guys enjoyed all the memes for this week. And that's all.
All right, thanks, Jake, for another great current news and memes as always. Opa, thank you for another great Opa's Corner. I hope you guys enjoyed today's History's Mysteries segment and the episode as a whole. Stay awake, not woke, subscribe, and stay tuned. If you like what we do here on Skiba News Nation, please like and subscribe, and also share with others so that we can grow the biggest truth-seeking community on the internet. Huge shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. We couldn't do this show without you, so I just wanted to say thank you. And if you want to help support us, go to patreon.com/Skiba News Nation.
you